is that form of association by which an idea, thought, or sensation is linked, connected, or associated with ideas, thoughts, or sensations of a kind similar, which have occurred previously or subsequently. Association by similarity is that form of association by which an idea, thought, or sensation is linked, connected, or associated with ideas, thoughts, or sensations of a similar kind, which have occurred previously or subsequently. The first form of association is the relation of sequence. The second, the relation of kind. Association by contiguity is the great law of thought as well as of memory. As Kay says, the great law of mental association is that of contiguity, by means of which sensations and ideas that have been in the mind together or in close succession tend to unite together or cohere in such a way that the one can afterward recall the other. The connection that naturally subsists between a sensation or idea in the mind and that which immediately preceded or followed it is of the strongest and most intimate nature. The two, strictly speaking, are but one, forming one complete thought. As Taine says, to speak correctly, there is no isolated or separate sensation. A sensation is a state which begins as a continuation of preceding ones and ends by losing itself in those following it. It is by an arbitrary severing, and for the convenience of language, that we set it apart as we do. Its beginning is the end of another, and its ending is the beginning of another. As Ribbett says, when we read or hear a sentence, for example, at the commencement of the fifth word, something of the fourth word still remains. Association by contiguity may be separated into two subclasses, contiguity in time and contiguity in space. In contiguity in time, there is manifested the tendency of the memory to recall the impressions in the same order in which they were received. The first impression suggesting the second, and that the third, and so on. In this way, the child learns to repeat the alphabet, and the adult the succeeding lines of a poem. As Priestley says, in a poem, the end of each preceding word being connected with the beginning of the succeeding one, we can easily repeat them in that order, but we are not able to repeat them backwards till they have been frequently named in that order. Memory of words or groups of words depends upon this form of contiguous association. Some persons are able to repeat long poems from beginning to end with perfect ease, but are unable to repeat any particular sentence or verse without working down to it from the beginning. Contiguity in space is manifested in the forms of recollection or remembrance by position. Of association by contiguity. By remembering the things connected with the position of a particular thing, we are enabled to recall the thing itself. As we have seen in the preceding chapter, some forms of memory systems have been based on this law. If you will recall some house or room in which you have been, you will find that you will remember one object after another, in the order of the relative positions or contiguity in space or position. Beginning with the front hall, you may travel in memory from one room to another, recalling each with the objects it contains according to the degree of attention you bestowed upon them originally. It is on this principle of contiguity that mnemonical systems are constructed. As when what we wish to remember is associated in the mind with a certain object or locality, the ideas associated will at once come up. Or when each word or idea is associated with the one immediately preceding it, so that when one is recalled, the other comes up along with it, and thus long lists of names or long passages of books can be readily learnt by heart. From the foregoing, it will be seen that it is of great importance that we correlate our impressions with those preceding and following. The more closely knitted together our impressions are, the more closely they will cohere, and the greater will be the facility of remembering or recollecting them. We should endeavor to form our impressions of things so that they will be associated with other impressions in time and space. Every other thing that is associated in the mind with a given thing serves as a loose end of memory, which if once grasped and followed up will lead us to the thing which we desire to recall to mind. Association by similarity is the linking together of impressions of a similar kind, irrespective of time and place. Carpenter expresses it as follows. The law of similarity expresses the general fact that any present state of consciousness tends to revive previous states which are similar to it. Rational or philosophical association is when a fact or statement on which the attention is fixed is associated with some fact previously known, or which has a relation, or with some subject which it is calculated to illustrate. And as Kay says, the similar may be widely apart in space or in time, but they're brought together and associated through their resemblance to each other. Thus, a circumstance of today may recall circumstances of a similar nature that occurred perhaps